the 5 stages and sales techniques. I am José Manuel García-Lomas Allen-Perkins, President and first consultant of the firm García-Lomas Allen-Perkins, the ADO Corporation. When in other videos of our YouTube channel we have talked about communication and sales, our references to the attention curve has always appeared, expressed in some axes of coordinates, where in the vertical axis call of order we locate the attention that gives us an interlocutor, a client, while in the horizontal axis call of abscisses we locate the time factor. All this can be observed in the draft that we show. In this way, when we begin our presentation, we must ensure that the attention of the interlocutor of the group grows as the time of our presentation passes, developing a curve called the attention curve, which will reach a maximum point after a certain time and from which the attention declines and falls. The attention curve consists of 2 components: the content, the what do we say, and the form, the how do we say it. The form, the how we say it, has already been treated in other videos, which does not remove that in the future we can deepen those concepts, tools to talk better. But today let's focus on the content, the what do we say, with 3 important phases. 1, the opening, our beginning. 2, the theme, which we deal with. 3, the closing of our end. These 3 phases from a commercial point of view are called the attention phase, the benefits phase, and the conclusion phase. Attention, benefits, and close. And something to insist on, remembering that famous phrase that nothing replaces a deep preparation. We must plan how to begin by pulling strongly on the attention curve in the introduction, attention phase. Carefully planning the presentation of our theme, benefit, structuring this phase, and the audiovisual media we plan to use. And finally, plan also carefully how we are going to conclude, how we are going to close the closing of our sale. But going back to sales, without leaving the communications, since sales and communication must be perfectly integrated if we want to be truly effective. Let's talk about the title of this video, the 5 stages of the sales process and sales techniques. A good way to start developing this interesting topic on sales techniques is by asking 2 questions. 1, the first question, although addressed to a group of sales professionals, does not fail to produce a certain impact, and I would say a certain amount of confusion, sometimes in some participants, because the first question is 1, what is selling? There are usually different answers to this question for the group. Selling is an exchange between the buyer and the seller. Selling is a transaction. Selling is convincing. Selling is satisfying the needs of our client, and many, many more. Here I try to highlight the positive of each definition about what is selling, and in the end I say that I also have my own particular way of saying that is selling. And I say that the sale is a balance, and that any balance that is worthwhile must have two plates. One is the first dish, which is the customer dish, where we have to put something that no matter how much thought we put into it, we not cease to have a certain negative side from the customer's point of view, since it is the effort we ask the customer to make in order to make the sale, that is to say, what he has to contribute, and in short, all that and much more can be expressed in a single word: price. Therefore, price is not only expressed in monetary units, but also in effort, risk, dedication, commitment, what the customer has to contribute, money to pay. On the other side of the balance, there is the seller dish, or dish where we will have to put everything necessary to compensate balance positively and widely the weight of the efforts that our client will have to make. There is only one way with a multitude of expressions and variations to make the customer see that the weight of the dish on our side balance greatly exceeds the efforts he will have to make to carry out the sale. The way of compensating the efforts of the client expressed in price has a definition: the benefits. The benefits that we contribute to the client by means of the satisfaction and solution of its problems, desires, needs, restlessness, dissatisfactions, etc., that the client is going to receive on our part to the accomplishment of the sale. Therefore, one way to express what is to sell is to use two keywords. Selling is motivating, selling is justifying why the customer has to buy, justifying its effort on our part by means of the contribution of benefits of all nature and to fully satisfy the needs, interests, wishes, etc. of the client. The value of the image of the balance, where price on the part of the client and benefits on the part of the seller are confronted, is a whole program on sales techniques, and could be summarized in how to achieve that at the end of the interview the client feels that the weight of the benefits that he is going to receive exceeds the effort price that he as a client has to contribute. Second question: and what are sales techniques? After asking the group how they interpret sales techniques and receiving different definitions from the participants, I come, as in the first question, to give my own definition. And as a way of explaining it is through a process that is developed between the sales professional and the client. I come first in describing the different phases or the 5 stages that the sales process goes through. Before getting in touch with the client, we must do a good and careful preparation and planning of our sales interview, remembering the expression that says nothing replaces deep preparation, or that preparation is everything, answering the question of what factors positively influence our client before and during the first stage of the contact as part of the preparation, and also how to motivate and justify our interview with the client. Let's start with the 5 stages of sales process. Stage 1, the contact or introduction. This is the time needed to create a positive atmosphere with the client and to awaken interest in our sales presentation. Stage 2. Information gathering or qualification. A stage in which, through a good questioning technique, we obtain all relevant information about the client and his situation. Remembering that to say is not to sell, what to sell is to ask, to know how to ask, influence the customer with questions and not with statements. Stage 3. Selling benefits. This is the argumentation stage, using methodology of starting from the most significant characteristics of our product or offer, transforming them into advantages for the client, and in turn those advantages transform into benefits for the client as the solution of their problems, desires, and needs. A highly qualified way of selling transforms the sale into a problem-solving system. Stage 4. Overcoming doubt, resistance, and objections. How to discover the client resistance and doubt, different techniques for handling and overcoming objections. Stage 5. Leading to customer to decision making. The closing of the sales. When do we start to close our sale? Different closing techniques. And already answering the question, and what are sales techniques? The answer is all the different ways I have as a salesman in front of my client and throughout the sales interview to achieve my goal, which is ultimately to make a good closing sale. Finally, always make an action plan, the follow-up to the client, because a satisfied client is the best collaborator of the salesman. If you are interested in our videos, I suggest that you give a like and subscribe to our channels in Spanish and in English.